In those precious seconds between sleep and consciousness, you hold the keys to your entire destiny. Before the world intrudes with its demands and distractions, you possess a moment of pure potential, one that most people squander without ever realizing its transformative power. As you awaken each morning, the world remains unchanged, yet your viewpoint possesses the capacity to transform everything in that silent instant before daily obligations surge forward. Before your device illuminates, before exchanging words with another soul, that represents your window of opportunity. That represents your instant of authority. Most individuals dismiss it entirely. They stumble into their day operating on automatic pilot, propelled by urgency rather than intention. However, those who grasp the significance of beginnings understand this fundamental truth. How you commence your day determines how you experience your existence. Consider this reality. The initial thoughts you permit entry into your consciousness resemble the opening paint strokes on an empty canvas. They tint the lens through which you perceive everything that unfolds afterward. Should you begin your day saturated with uncertainty, anxiety, or tension, even the most minor disruption can feel crushing. Yet if you begin your day anchored, balanced, and aligned with your mission, then even obstacles transform into opportunities for advancement. That represents the core of inner power, and that's precisely why we gather here. Each morning presents you with a decision. You can awaken and simply respond, or you can awaken and take charge. True leadership commences with self-mastery. Your title, obligations, or background hold no relevance. You serve as the commander of your own existence. The most influential method of leading involves directing your thoughts. This is where affirmations transcend mere vocabulary. They evolve into instruments. Instruments for molding the mind, for directing your attention, and for establishing the foundation that frequently begins before dawn even breaks. Voicing affirmations audibly isn't about pretending circumstances are flawless. It concerns declaring your resolve to meet the day with awareness, with lucidity, and with inner fortitude. Some might protest, but I don't experience strength in the morning. That's precisely why this practice holds significance. The most resilient individuals aren't those who never experience fatigue, fear, or uncertainty. They are those who decide to act with self-control despite experiencing those emotions. Affirmations represent a form of internal self-discipline. When you rise and decide to voice words of truth and empowerment to yourself, you establish a foundation, one that external circumstances cannot easily disturb. Picture entering combat without protection. That's how most people approach their mornings. Yet when you commence with affirmations, you don mental armor, not to shield yourself from life, but to navigate through it with bravery. With command, with tranquility, you remind yourself of your identity. You claim ownership of your energy. In doing so, you transform not merely your day, but your trajectory. Let's delve deeper still. Your mind's operation during early morning differs from the remainder of the day. In those initial minutes, your brain exists in a more open state, what some describe as a doorway to the subconscious. This is when suggestions can circumvent resistance and establish roots. So when you recite affirmations such as, I am concentrated, I am disciplined, I am deserving, they aren't merely inspirational phrases. They are seeds. Each day you repeat them, you nourish those seeds. You foster a fresh mental landscape, one that encourages growth, tranquility, and intentional action. Naturally, this doesn't occur instantly. No enduring transformation does. Yet gradually, as the repetitions accumulate, so does your sense of self. You cease requiring reminders to be self-assured. You simply evolve into someone who embodies confidence as a natural condition. You cease needing to resist diversion. You become someone who instinctively selects focus. This represents the quiet influence of morning affirmations. They don't announce themselves loudly. They sculpt. Let us be explicit. Achievement isn't solely about accomplishing something external. Genuine success involves awakening with harmony, experiencing each moment with purpose, and resting each night knowing you remained faithful to your journey. That form of success originates in the morning, not with commotion, not with haste, but with stillness, with clarity, with intentional breathing, and with words that awaken the strength already residing within you. Some people inquire, how do I discover motivation in the morning? Yet, it's not about discovering it, it's about generating it. Motivation isn't something that materializes. It's something you produce, like a flame you decide to kindle. The affirmations serve as the spark. You are the one who ignites it. Over time, that flame develops into something far greater than fleeting inspiration. It becomes discipline. Discipline, unlike motivation, isn't emotional. Discipline represents a commitment to your development, to your principles, to your path. When you establish this habit each morning, you no longer remain at the mercy of the day. You become its designer. So before the world contacts you, before the chaos, the messages, the judgments reach you, reach yourself first. Speak to yourself. Determine who you will become before anyone else attempts to define it for you. Allow your initial thoughts to be powerful, not scattered. Let them become organized, not chaotic. From that place of stillness and clarity, you begin the day already ahead. The morning isn't a competition, it's a ceremony. Treat it with honor. Respect that space. Utilize it wisely. Because how you begin often determines how far you travel. Now that we comprehend the importance of the morning, that sacred time when the mind remains open and the path stays untouched, we turn to the practice itself. The affirmations, not merely hollow phrases, but a conscious declaration of who you are, what you value, and what you're willing to pursue. Words possess substance. They shape intention. When spoken with clarity, conviction, and consistency, they shape reality. You might question why we employ 14 affirmations. It's straightforward. Each one resembles a step on a ladder, elevating you higher toward your optimal self. Each affirmation addresses a fundamental aspect of mental strength, self-discipline, or focused intention. Just as the body benefits from a comprehensive training regimen, the mind benefits from affirmations that activate different regions of your inner world: confidence, calmness, determination, gratitude, and presence. Let us examine them deliberately, not as recitation, but as recognition. The first, I am grounded and present in this moment. This reminds you to return to now. The mind often awakens racing, worrying about undone tasks or fearing what lies ahead. Yet presence equals power. To be grounded means to remain unshaken by imagined futures or past regrets. Begin here. Start your day rooted in your current location. The second, I am grateful for this new day and the opportunity to grow. Gratitude dissolves resistance. It opens the heart. It shifts the mind away from complaints and toward possibilities. When you appreciate the day as a chance rather than an obligation, everything becomes lighter. You move with greater ease. Even challenges are viewed through a different perspective. Third, I am capable of handling anything that comes my way. This isn't arrogance, it's assurance. You remind yourself that you faced difficulty previously and you're still here. Your strength doesn't lie in avoiding discomfort, but in meeting it directly with composure and self-trust. Fourth, I am focused and free from distraction. Focus is scarce in a world filled with noise, yet it's trainable. And affirming your focus trains the mind to prioritize what matters. When you begin your day affirming clarity, it becomes easier to recognize and release the small things that attempt to pull you off course. Fifth, I am disciplined and committed to my goals. Motivation fluctuates, but discipline endures. Discipline isn't about pushing relentlessly. It's about appearing even when the mood is absent. This affirmation is a contract, a quiet agreement between who you are and who you're becoming. Sixth, I radiate confidence from within. Confidence isn't granted by others. It's not a performance. It's a result of knowing your values and walking in alignment with them. It's built in silence through repeated action and consistent self-respect. This affirmation reinforces that energy from within. Seventh, I choose peace over stress. You're not in control of everything that happens today, but you're always in control of your response. Peace isn't the absence of challenge. It's the presence of stillness even in the storm. Repeating this reminds you that peace is a choice, and you have that choice in every moment. 8th, I learn and grow from every experience. When you affirm this, setbacks lose their sting. Mistakes become lessons. Growth is no longer tied to perfection, but to presence, curiosity, and humility. This affirmation transforms fear of failure into fuel for transformation. 9th, I speak to myself with kindness and respect. So many battles are fought in silence between you and your own thoughts. This affirmation reorients the inner voice. You're not here to tear yourself down. You're here to guide yourself forward. Self-respect begins with how you speak to yourself in the quiet moments. 10th, I attract positivity through my actions and energy. You don't need to chase validation or approval. Energy is reciprocal. What you give out returns. So focus not on what others are doing, but on the energy you're choosing to embody: kindness, resilience, focus. These are signals, and the world responds to them. 11th, I am in control of my habits and choices. This affirms responsibility not as pressure, but as power. You're not controlled by impulse. You can pause. You can choose. The more you affirm this truth, the more your actions begin to align with long-term purpose over short-term relief. 12th, I am open to receiving abundance in all its forms. Abundance isn't only wealth. It's opportunity, love, clarity, peace, growth, health. This affirmation opens the mind and heart to receive not from desperation, but from alignment. You become aware of what you already have and what is ready to flow toward you. 13th, I am resilient and nothing can break my spirit. Resilience isn't the absence of pain. It's the decision to keep moving through it. When you affirm your inner strength, you remind yourself that circumstances may bend you, but they will not break you. The spirit remains unshaken. Finally, the 14th, why I am walking my unique path with purpose and trust. You're not here to copy others. You're here to walk your path. This affirmation centers you in that truth. You're not behind. You're not late. You're exactly where you need to be, learning, growing, unfolding. With trust, you continue forward. These affirmations aren't magic. They're mirrors. They reflect back to you the strength that already exists within, the focus, the peace, the courage, the wisdom. Like any practice, they gain power through repetition. Speak them not just with your voice, but with your heart. Let the words settle into your breath, your posture, your choices. Initially, it may feel unnatural, but over time you'll notice a shift, not only in how you think, but in how you carry yourself, how you respond, how you lead. The affirmations don't change the world, they change you. In changing yourself, you begin to change how you move through the world. That is the beginning of mastery. Repetition is often misunderstood. People think doing the same thing every day is boring, robotic, even unnecessary. Yet repetition isn't a weakness. It's the path to mastery. If something is important enough to affect your life deeply, then it's important enough to be practiced daily. That's the reason we repeat affirmations every morning. Not to hear the words again, but to become the kind of person who naturally lives by them. The mind is shaped by what it's fed consistently, just like water shapes stone, slowly but relentlessly. Your daily thoughts shape the structure of your character, your confidence, your direction. Repetition is the silent force behind all meaningful change. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Your habits are built on what you repeat. Each time you say, I am focused, you're not just reminding yourself of a concept, you're reinforcing a neural pathway. Every repetition makes that connection stronger, faster, more automatic. It's the same way a martial artist trains a movement until it becomes instinct. At first, every step feels mechanical. You have to think about posture, breath, movement. Yet with repetition, the movement becomes part of you. It's no longer something you do, it's something you are. Affirmations follow the same principle. They are mental movements, Repeating them daily is how we train the mind to stop reacting out of fear, impulse, or old stories, and instead respond with clarity, calmness, and choice. Repetition is how you replace noise with stillness, confusion with conviction, and doubt with discipline. Yet it must be intentional repetition. There's a difference between saying words and embodying them. When you speak each affirmation in the morning, don't rush through them. Don't say them because it's a task to complete. Say them because you're choosing your direction. Say them like they matter, because they do, not just to your morning, but to your entire day, to the kind of person you're becoming. Most people drift. They wake up and allow their thoughts to control them, their emotions to lead them, their environment to define them. Yet those who understand the power of repetition, they no longer drift. They move with intention. They return each morning to the same place, not because they're stuck, but because they're building something. Every repetition is a brick. One day, without even noticing, they look up and see that they've built something unshakable, a mindset that can't be broken by circumstance, a discipline that doesn't depend on mood. Consider how nature operates. A tree doesn't grow tall because it tries harder once in a while. It grows because it follows its rhythm, its repetition, reaching for light every single day, whether the sky is clear or clouded. Growth doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from repeated effort aligned with purpose. So why affirmations in the morning? Why every day? Because the world will not stop trying to pull you in different directions. Distractions, doubts, demands, they will come whether you prepare or not. Yet repetition in the morning prepares you. It centers you. It reminds you of your foundation before the waves arrive. When you start your day with repetition of truth, of strength, of clarity, you don't just survive the day. You command it. You may not feel the shift immediately. That's where most people give up. They say, I've said these affirmations for a week, but nothing changed. That's like planting a seed and digging it up every morning to see if it's grown. The real transformation is happening underground, slowly, invisibly, steadily, and then one day it breaks through, yet only if you stay consistent, only if you honor the process. Repetition requires patience. It requires trust. Above all, it requires faith, not in something outside of you, but in yourself. Faith that you're worth the effort, that your future is worth protecting, that your mind is worth training. Ask yourself, what do you want to be automatic in your life? Stress, doubt, procrastination, or calmness, focus, discipline. Whatever you repeat becomes your default. So choose wisely. Choose daily. Choose deliberately, because repetition isn't passive. It's powerful. It's how transformation happens without force. It's how your inner world shifts so that the outer world responds. Let us also be clear, repetition doesn't make life dull. It makes life sharper, more refined. The same way a blade is sharpened by repetition, the mind is strengthened by returning again and again to the thoughts that matter. Every time you affirm your strength, you weaken your fear. Every time you affirm your focus, you weaken your distraction. Over time, you no longer need to force positive thoughts. They become your natural response. Repetition isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. You will miss some days. You will say the words without feeling them. That is human. Yet what matters is that you return again and again, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because those are the moments when the repetition carries you. You don't have to feel inspired every day. You just have to return to the words. Let them do the work. Eventually, the affirmations are no longer something you say. They are something you believe. They become part of your identity. When belief and behavior align, that is when true change begins. Not just for a day, but for a lifetime. That is the silent power of repetition. Starting your day with strength isn't a one-time event. It's not something you try once and then forget. It's a decision you make over and over again, not just in the morning, but throughout your entire journey. While the affirmations, the repetition, the morning practice, they are tools. What matters most is the person you choose to be when no one is watching, when it's early, when it's quiet, and when the choice is yours alone to rise or to remain the same. Each day is a blank page, not in the poetic sense, but in a very real, practical way. You're not chained to who you were yesterday. You're not limited by your past thoughts or yesterday's mood. The beauty of morning is that it reminds you of this truth. Every sunrise is an invitation to begin again, stronger, clearer, more intentional. Not perfect, just present. Present with your path, your vision, your voice. What happens when you begin every morning with that kind of awareness? Slowly, something begins to shift. You begin to trust yourself. Not because you've achieved something grand, but because you showed up again consistently with heart. That kind of trust builds a quiet power, the kind that doesn't need to be loud, that doesn't need to prove anything. It just is. There will be days when the affirmations feel far from true. Days when you wake up tired, uncertain, maybe even frustrated. That is part of the process. That is not failure. That is training. A strong mind isn't one that always feels good. It's one that remembers its purpose even when things don't feel easy. That's why we train every day. Not for the days when everything is going well, but for the days when it isn't. On those days, it's the morning practice that becomes your anchor. When the mind wants to spiral, when the world feels heavy, when doubt creeps in, it's those first few minutes, those first few breaths, those first words you speak to yourself that set the tone. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're a creator of direction. That's what it means to start your day strong. Yet it doesn't end there. The strength you build in the morning must carry into the day, not through force, but through presence. The discipline you affirm must translate into the actions you take. The calmness you invite must follow you into conversations, into challenges, into decisions. It's not about being perfect. It's about being aligned, about living in a way that reflects the energy you created at the beginning of the day. When you live that way, something powerful happens. You begin to build momentum. Each morning builds upon the last. Each repetition reinforces the one before it. The person you're becoming stops feeling like a distant idea. It starts becoming your reality. Your thoughts, your posture, your focus, they all begin to reflect this version of you that was once just a vision and is now a presence. You see, success isn't one big moment. It's a collection of small, consistent decisions. It's the way you breathe when you feel overwhelmed, the way you pause before reacting, the way you remind yourself of your values when it would be easier to give in. These moments are small, but they're not insignificant. They are the steps of the journey, and you take them one after another. Each day you begin with intention. It's easy to wait for motivation, to wait until you feel like it. Yet that's not the path of mastery. The path of mastery is paved with action, not mood. If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll wait your whole life. Yet if you commit to showing up even imperfectly, then you build something unstoppable. Not overnight, but over time, quietly, consistently, daily. So start today and start again tomorrow. Don't aim for dramatic transformation. Aim for quiet alignment. Speak the affirmations even when you don't feel ready. Repeat them even when they feel unfamiliar. Trust that your consistency will carry you through. It's not about changing everything at once. It's about changing one thing and letting that one thing ripple outward. Start with your breath. Start with your words. Start with your intention. Then let those shape your actions. Let your actions shape your identity. Let your identity shape your path. This is how real change happens from the inside out. It's not enough to listen to affirmations. You must live them. You must carry them into your work, your relationships, your choices. You must become the embodiment of the energy you create in the morning. That's what gives the practice meaning. That's what makes it powerful. Not the words alone, but the way they guide your being. Over time, you won't need to convince yourself. The affirmations won't just be statements. There'll be reflections of who you are, of who you've chosen to become, not by accident, but by design, with patience, with presence, with purpose. So rise each day with discipline. Speak each word with clarity. Move through each moment with intention. You're not here to live on repeat. You're here to rise, to refine, and to realize your potential one strong morning at a time.